Hi, it's WWJ Auto Beat reporter Jeff Gilbert live via Facebook from the Paris Auto Show. We are in the Aishin booth. Aishin is the sponsor of the WWJ coverage of the Paris Auto Show. And since this is Facebook, you see everything in reverse. There they are in all of their glory. And we are going to start with this as we take you on a tour through just part of the Paris Auto Show. Now, as you look down the hall, this is just one of, as far as I can count, about 7 buildings at the Paris Auto Show. So we'll take you through this and maybe take you outside to see a few other things. Right across from Aishin is one of their sister companies, Lexus and Toyota. Now, if you look at the Lexus display here at the Paris Auto Show, it's very similar to the layout of the display in Detroit. You can see the Lexus ES 300, the hybrid version. This is a vehicle that is sold in the US, and the booth itself has the big screen, almost use the ancient word jumbotron, but big screens which are very, very popular at auto shows the world around. Obviously, there are people here keeping things clean. Now, the world premiere for Lexus here, and I'll find a little more later because they didn't have a press conference. They're going to be doing interviews. This is the Lexus Rc, a small sporty car for Lexus. This is my first time seeing it as well. Very sharp. And it's also, at least this particular version, is a hybrid. Now, you're seeing a number of hybrids here. There's the RX 450H hybrid, and we will move over from Lexus to their sister division, Toyota, which, again, hello, Vicki Thomas. Thanks for joining me. Like in Detroit, a lot of electronic messaging there. But unlike Detroit, here it's in French and English in multiple languages. This is a vehicle that I haven't gotten to drive, but I'd love to drive someday. It is the Toyota Mirai hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. I was talking to somebody at one of the other car makers about hydrogen fuel cells. They're talking a little bit about that here with electrification. Not quite to the point that we're seeing in the US, particularly in California where they have an infrastructure, because they really don't have much of an infrastructure here. Let me cut my way through the crowds here. Again, this is a Yaris hybrid, a hybrid version of a small car. And, excuse me, this is a Corolla hybrid that they're showing off here. As I started to say, electrification is becoming a much bigger deal here in Europe than it used to be. Europe used to be all about diesels. But after the Volkswagen scandal and after some concerns in some of the inner cities, the diesels are kind of giving way to electrification. Before we get more into that, something you don't see in the US, that's Skoda. That is one of the brands of Volkswagen. It's Eastern European. And again, Volkswagen itself is not at the Paris Auto Show because, like many other brands, they didn't really have anything to show. But some of their other sub-brands are here. But again, this is a small SUV from Skoda. You don't see that in the United States, but it's very interesting. You do see a lot more in the way of crossovers here in Europe than you used to see. As you can see now, other people are doing interviews. Probably none of these are in English, so they could be saying anything and I wouldn't understand. Let me flip this around a bit. so I can talk to you a bit as I walk through this hall. Excuse me for not looking directly at you as I walk, but you got to have your walking shoes on when you go to these European shows because they are really spread out. And if you are just joining me, I'm WWJ Auto Beat reporter Jeff Gilbert covering the Paris Auto Show. If you're in Detroit, where it is probably, about 7:40 in Detroit. Here in Paris, it's 1:40, so the auto show here has been cranking out well in force. Now we're getting onto some vehicles that are a little more exotic. Wait, I got a question. Vicki Thomas, how does the Paris show compare to our auto show in Detroit size? Well, Vicki, the auto show here in Paris spread out over 7 halls. So I'll go outside in a second and you'll see some of the differences. So if you can hang with me, they're not going to make you work, are they? Just watch Facebook Live today. That's a fun thing. Anyhow, we're in the Audi display now. This is, I believe, a concept car of some sort. It says E-Tron. Now, I know the E-Tron, and that's what I'm looking for, is a new electric from Audi, but this, I've seen pictures of it. This obviously is not it. We'll get over there in a few seconds. One thing they have a lot of here is high-end vehicles. For example, Porsche. Lots of sharp vehicles. There's a classic one next to a concept, next to another classic. But of course, if you want a Porsche 911, they've got one of those. Cayennes, other Porsche vehicles as well. Slipping on through the Paris Auto Show. Again, this is not public days like Detroit, where they have 2 press days before the public days open, and today is the first of those. I had talked earlier about the Audi E-Tron. This will be my first chance to actually see it in the metal. It's almost going to say in the flesh. This is really going to be the first true competitor to Tesla. I talked with somebody from Audi about the E-Tron. This is its auto show debut. They actually introduced it in Tesla's backyard, San Francisco, about a week or so ago. Looks very Audi-ish. They say that they really designed this to be a real fast crossover SUV that just happens to be electric. They're not talking about the range yet, but it's definitely going to be 200 plus miles. It will go on sale in the $70,000 ballpark early next year. Again, that is about the same range as you would see a Tesla, maybe a little bit less. And unlike Tesla, this is from a car maker that has a lot of experience with luxury vehicles. You're going to see a bunch, let me talk to you face to face now while I walk, you're going to see a bunch of high-end electric luxury vehicles coming. Mercedes just unveiled their first. We're nowhere near Mercedes right now. That's at a totally different building. And BMW is also going to have them. And GM has a whole range of electrics coming out. All right, now, Vicki, you want to talk about the difference between Paris. Well, here's one difference. They talk in French.
Alors, avant de passer la parole à Dingo, pour finir mon intervention,
I would love to translate that for you, but I know bonjour and oui, and that's about it. And I'm going to try to slip out the door here. As you can see, a massive wave of people slipping in. Try to slip out without injuring anybody or causing an international incident. Now here is one of the differences. First, they have a McDonald's here, and yes, they have French fries. How about that? Well, one of the big differences is this is multiple halls. Now, a little bit later on, I'll take you probably on a tour tomorrow because I have an interview. I don't have time to roam around the whole area. See that 5? That hall has Mercedes, BMW, Land Rover, Jaguar. There are a ton of brands there. You see another pavilion over there that says Pavilion 2, which has a number of different brands. In fact, if you're a little bit lazy, you can actually get a car to ride around. And I saw some self-driving shuttles, but they haven't done it. Behind Pavilion 2 is Pavilion 3. Pavilion 1 has Renault and Kia and others. And you can see a lot of open air space. So imagine with the Detroit show now coming in the summer in June, if there's some way to add more open space outside. There's a ton of things festival-wise that you can imagine them doing. There's hall number 3, which has a number of other car companies. And way down at the end there, you can see a freeway. And then right behind that is hall number 7, which has technology displays. So, I mean, this is huge. In fact, look, there's somebody who's getting by on a scooter. So, you know, when you think about this, when you think about, you know, taking things outside, and it really does feel like a fall day here in Paris, think of what they can do to the show in Detroit once it moves to July. And, you know, just imagine all of the open space that they may have around Kobo, especially if Joe Louis Arena goes away. Maybe there are things they can do there. So this is the first of my live Facebook videos from the Paris Auto Show. Tomorrow I'm going to try to take you through a few of the other halls to give you a little more of a feel for this show. And of course, I invite everybody to stay with WWJ News Radio 950 for all of the latest Paris Auto Show coverage. And of course, all of Vicki Thomas's reports as well, because she was nice enough to join in my Facebook video. So I got to give you a plug, Vicki. Anyway, that's my international report. Thanks for joining us.